All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Jay Moore, your healthy accountant, and today's enlightenment broadcast title is Focusing on the Wrong Things. Focusing on the wrong things. Or it could be phrased in a question. I put it in a question for you because I want you to ask yourself, are you focused on the wrong things? You know, it's really easy to focus on something external than yourself. It's really easy to come to social media. It's really easy to look around and start focusing on what someone else is doing, and it's really easy to point out when someone else probably does something wrong than when it's time for us to point out what we do wrong. And I flipped open the word and I turned to John chapter 21. I talked about a piece of this recently, but then I went a little bit further to the end of the chapter, and I found something that I realized is very important, especially in my life, to always be focused on the right things. And so in chapter 21, I'm going to start at 20. It says, later that morning, as the disciples were walking along the beach, Peter, who was next to Jesus, turned and saw John close behind. This was the same John who had sat next to Jesus at the Passover supper and asked him which one of the disciples would betray him. Peter asked Jesus, now check this out. It's almost as if Peter is like, man, John already asked, Jesus about betrayal. I got to ask him something as well. So here it is. You can see as we're getting into this, Peter is not focused on what he should be focused on. He's focused on somebody else. And so Peter asked Jesus, Lord, what does this man's future hold? And what are you going to ask him to do? Jesus said, if I wanted him to live until I come back, he would. But you need to keep your eyes on me and stop looking at him. Do you realize that? Jesus is like, dude, why are you looking at John? You need to be looking at me. You need to be paying attention to me and not looking at him. But here's what happened. Here's what happened now. Then the rumor got started among the other disciples that John would never die. But that was not what Jesus had said. All he said was, if I wanted him to live until I come back, he would. Do you see how rumors get started? Because people are paying attention to other people that when they should be paying attention to themselves. Have you ever caught yourself in circumstances or situations where you should probably be doing something, but it's easy for you to point something out? And I'm going to tell you, it's sometimes I find myself pointing things out for my kids. So I'm gonna be transparent, because this isn't something that, you know, I don't do or you don't do, because most of the time, if you're human, you pointing out what somebody else do, especially when they're close to you. Now, when they're not close to you, you may be pointing it out to your friends and letting your friends know what you're pointing out. But here's the thing. What should you be focused on in your life? What should I be focused on in my life? I know what I should be focused on. I should be focused on living my life according to the purpose in which I've been called to live. But if that is not what I'm focused on a daily basis, then I'm going to get caught up just like Peter did. Peter got caught up wanting to be great. He wanted to be so great that he's focused on someone else. He's trying to figure out how, someone else is going to be successful, when he should be like, okay, how am I going to get through the tough times? Man, I fell down recently. Man, I did not do what I was supposed to do when Jesus needed me the most. Man, how will I stand later? Yeah, Peter had apologized. Peter had, you know, learned from his lesson, but still, it's now him looking at someone else. You know, every day I wake up, or it was yesterday, and yesterday when I woke up, I'm always thinking, because I think I've been living a lie. And why I'm saying that is that I've not been living the purpose in which I've called to live. So I'm saying I've been living a lie because it's kind of like, the story of Jonah. And God called Jonah to do something and he ran away. He decided to live something else, and that wasn't what God wanted him to do. And so that's an instance that we can look at a situation in the Bible. We can look at someone that was asked to do something and he refused. Now, I'm going to tell you, he went out there, he did what he wanted, he ran away, but he got swallowed up. He was swallowed up by circumstances. Found himself. Can you imagine? To get swallowed up by a whale. What? How did he live? How did he not die inside the belly of a whale? That's saying a lot. You tell me a whale can eat a man. He swallowed a man. He didn't even eat the man. He didn't chew him. Can go into the stomach. Stomachs have all sorts of acids, all sorts of things in there to break down things that we eat. So if anything goes into your stomach, no matter what it is, your body immediately goes into, I got to break this down because I got to get rid of it. I got to break this down because I have to get rid of it. And sometimes you can eat something and you can throw it up before it breaks down. But for the most part, a lot of times, for us, we got to chew it up. But for things that you don't chew up and they still hold in your stomach, still the acids have to break it down enough so that you can let it out. How in the world did Jonah spend that time in that well and live? Obviously, it was God's purpose. Obviously, it was God's way of teaching Jonah a lesson. Who wants to be taught a lesson like that? I don't. Why would you want to be taught a lesson when you can just say, you know what? I should keep my eyes on Jesus. All right, Jesus, where am I going today? What should my focus be on? But if I'm focused on the wrong things, if I'm focused on, just the regular life, I'm just focused on bills, I'm focused on living, I'm focused on eating, I'm focused on, what's on social media, I'm focused on watching TV, I'm focused on just catching videos and just having a pleasurable time. I'm just focused on that. But what if I wake up in the mornings and every day I'm refreshed to focus again on what he's called me to do? See, this is what you and I have to do. We've got to focus ourselves on the right things at the right time. We've got to do that. Because if we don't focus ourselves, if we're not clear, if we don't have clarity of purpose, of why we were created and what we are supposed to do, we'll wind up in the richest place on this planet. And that's the graveyard. The graveyard is the place where it's filled with riches and wealth. It's filled with, ideas, and it's filled with many books, and it's filled with inventions, and it's filled with many businesses, and it's filled with, successful not just authors, but inspirational people. It's filled up with potential never realized. That's what's there. Are you willing to risk your life on being wealthy while you're dead? Are you willing to do that? Man, I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to um, go through life with wealth. And I was reading a story recently, and the story was, well, it was two stories that I'm going to share with you. One, a woman was cleaning her house, and she was dusting off some things that she had put away, and she found an old box. She found this old box that she had for years. She's dusting it off like, man, I remember getting this. All right, man, what is this? Opens it up. She sees all these just these jewels in there. She's like, man, man, what is this? Man, I've had this in my house for years. She takes it and gets it appraised. Finds out the collection is worth millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Sitting on her shelf for many years. Thankfully and lucky for her, she found it. Here's the other story as I close out. There's a homeless man living on the street. He had been living on the street for some time, and just living his life. And he was content being homeless. He was content with what he was doing. And one day, a limousine pulls up. A limousine pulls up into the area where he's at, and limousine pulls up, and the person gets out. Gentleman has on a suit, and he's asking around. Hey, he has a picture of a person. Hey, have you seen this guy? Do you know who he is? And he's live around here. And so they say, yeah, we know that guy. You can find him down over there, up under the bridge. So he drives down. He finds the guy, and he's like, wow, oh my goodness, I can't believe I found you. And he's letting the guy know that, hey, I'm your uncle, and I'm so glad I found you. And your family, it's just me and you. Everyone else is gone. Your mother and your father are gone, and I'm your last uncle. And he's like, and so he's happy. He says, I have something I want to give you, and that your parents left for you, and I want to give this to you. And he said, okay, that's cool. But I want you to come back with me, because there's no reason for you to be out here on the street. His parents, and they had some money, they had a little wealth, and he said, I want to take you home, and we can do some things, and I can show you what your parents did. And he's just like, I'm good here. I don't want to go. I don't want to go and go with you, because I'm fine where I'm at. I'm content. It's like, all right. His uncle was gravely he felt terrible. He's crying. It's like, man, this is his last nephew. No one else in the family. His parents are gone, uncle. And so uncle leaves. But he gave him what his parents wanted him to have. It was an envelope, sealed envelope with his name on it. So he has this sealed on. The uncle leaves. And so gentleman has the sealed envelope. Now, I think he was around 42. Has the sealed envelope. And so now he just walked around. He's bragging. He's telling all his friends, man, look at what my parents left. My parents sent me a letter. The guy was so happy that he realized that he hadn't been alone in his life. He had parents. They were gone, but they left this envelope for him. And that's all he talked about. And when he got sad, he pulled the envelope out, and he just hugged on the envelope. He kept this envelope on him everywhere. Time came, and one day he passed away on the street. And so as he passed away, and when he got to the hospital, and they're clearing out his clothes, and they find this envelope. It was just wrinkly, and it'd be, you think this guy just had it in his pocket. He just had it in his pocket everywhere. So they open it, and what they find in the envelope, they found that his parents had left him their estate, a multi-million-dollar estate, left it to him. They'd also left him the business, which was multi-millions of dollars. Left it to him. And it's and they're just like, man, what do we like? Can we contact him? They couldn't find the uncle. They never found the uncle. And so, as you know, when there are estates, if there's no one to collect, the state does. The government collects. So the thing was, this man was not focused at all. He was so caught up in the fact that he had parents that he didn't realize that he should read the letter. He didn't realize that, man, if they left me something, if they wrote something down, let me see what they said. He was totally focused on the wrong things. What he had been praying for all his life, and I know he had been praying for family. I know he had been praying at some point to get off that street, to be able to do something better with his life. I know he was praying for that. And his answers to his prayers came. There was some hardship because the parents were gone. But imagine all the people he could have helped on the street. All those friends that he had that he could have got cleaned up and, maybe even got them employment. Imagine that. Never realized that potential. Never realized that his prayers had been answered. So this morning, as you go through your day, you should be focused. You should only be focused on what you've been called to do. You should only be focused on finding Jesus. Find him and put your eyes on him and allow him to pull you close. Allow him to take you through the problems, the circumstances. Allow him to show you the opportunities in what it is that you're going through. Because that opportunity that you're going through can help another person in the same opportunity. So it's important that you get through today. It's important that you find a new sense of purpose. It's important that you not focused on someone else's exterior. It's important to not focus on your exterior, but focused on your interior. It says in Romans 12:2 that you should transform by the renewing of your mind. That's what it says. Renewing. You should change from the inside out, not from the outside in. So find that purpose that you should be focused on today. Don't just go through life living. Go through life knowing that you are living for the reason that you've been created. All right, guys, I want you to have a great day, and I want to wish all the blessings on your life and everything that you're doing today. I want to thank you so much for joining me. My name is Jay Moore, your healthy accountant. Look, if you are in search of yourself, if you are trying to figure out who you are, if you're trying to figure out where you are going, and if you want to know these things, I suggest you book a call. Book a call today. Let's talk about why you were born. How about that? I think that'll be a great conversation. All right. So look, if you got value from this, share this broadcast across Facebook, across YouTube, wherever you're watching it. And look, I'll see you next time on the videos. Take care.